This is lesson 620 in Pre-Columbian Civilizations in the Americas. Which of these was unknown to Europeans before Columbus encountered the Americas? Corn, potatoes, turkeys, or tobacco? Answer: all four. The first Americans. Possible migrations to the first Americas. And you can see it came in three phases. And most of this, you can see, went across that land bridge between Asia and North America, which no longer exists. Early migrations to America. Scientists believe that America was first discovered by groups of Asian hunters who crossed an ancient land bridge where the Bering Straits now are. And we have three major pre-Columbian civilizations. We have the Aztec, the Maya, and down south, the Inca. These civilizations emerged in either warm, humid rainforests or mountain highlands rather than river valleys. And they had their own Neolithic revolution. Corn, unknown in Europe, became the basic food crop for the Maya and the Aztecs. The potato, also unknown in Europe, was the basic food crop for the Inca. The Maya. Here are the lands of the Maya, and you can see they're centered around the Yucatan Peninsula in southern Mexico. The Maya thrived from about 1500 BC to about 1524 AD. That is over 3,000 years. And they started in modern-day Guatemala, but a mysterious 9th century crisis drove them north to resettle in the Yucatan Peninsula, and they formed city-states such as Chichen Itza. And we've got a picture of a pyramid in Chichen Itza. Mayan math and science. Mayan astronomers measured the movements of various heavenly objects, and Mayan astronomers developed a 365-day calendar. The Mayan culture. Mayan artists painted murals on everything. The Maya developed a ball game with a rectangular court, and you can see a picture of it right here. Losers of the game may have been used for human sacrifice. And here are some pictures of people playing that game, getting pretty intense, as you can see. The Mayan cultivation of maize. Here's an overview of the city of Tikal, which is in Guatemala, and you can see numerous things, including more than one temple. Here is the main court of Tikal. And in Tikal, the temple of the masks. The Maya had their own hieroglyphic writing system, and they had their own numerical system. And here's a photograph of Mayan glyphs. People often think that the Maya somehow mysteriously disappeared and never saw the arrival of Europeans. However, this is actually not true. Now, the Maya experienced several catastrophic cultural declines, but they also had a 3,000-year history, so a lot can happen over 3,000 years. The reasons are not exactly known for this decline. Was it warfare? Was it overpopulation? Was it environmental damage? Was it drought? But Mayan populations actually never disappeared. They shifted from one area to another. The Maya continued to exist right up to the arrival of the Spanish. In fact, Spanish explorers encountered several large, thriving Mayan cities in modern-day Guatemala. The Maya were even conquered by their own version of Hernán Cortés, and his name was Pedro de Alvarado. And Hernán Cortés ordered him to attack the Maya in Guatemala, and Alvarado finished the job in 1524. The lands of the Aztecs, 1200 to 1546. As you can see, they had quite a large area right there in southern Mexico, and their capital was located right around where Mexico City is today. Aztec beginnings. The Aztec civilization emerged in the Valley of Mexico, and this valley was a great place for growing crops. They learned to grow corn from their neighbors, and then they took growing corn to a whole new level. Tenochtitlan, the capital, was built on an island in the middle of a lake. Tenochtitlan was the Venice of the Americas. Here's another innovation of the Aztecs, the Aztec Chinampa, or floating garden. With a Chinampa, they could grow corn in these wet marshlands that they were living in. Here's a picture of Tenochtitlan with the Chinampas. The Aztecs also had writing. They could do math. The Aztecs made careful observations of solar movements, and they worshipped many gods, and they developed a sun calendar. Aztec human sacrifice. The Aztec practiced human sacrifice on a massive scale. They often sacrificed captured enemies, and they believed that human sacrifice kept the universe going. The Aztecs were fierce warriors, and you can see that by the masks. The Aztecs sacrificed neighboring tribes to their sun god. Here's another picture of the heart sacrifice on an Aztec temple pyramid. The Inca. The lands of the Inca from about 1200 to 1535. They lived in South America. They lived in the Andes Mountains at high elevations, and this changes everything. The ancient capital of the Inca was about 11,000 feet high. In Machu Picchu, the Inca built a road system to connect their massive empire. The system was over 10,000 miles long, and these roads led over the mountains, ravines, and waterways. And the Inca built storehouses and preserved food along the links of this road system. They didn't have the wheel. What good would it have done? Incan suspension bridges. Terraced farming. In order to farm on a mountainside, the Inca had to create terraces. The Inca grew over 100 different types of potatoes, and these grew well in the climate and could withstand cold nights. The Quipu. The Quipu was an Indian database. The Inca didn't have writing, as we understand it. Instead, they used a system of colored and knotted ropes to communicate over distance. And finally, here's a picture of Inca gold and silver.